What the freak is up, guys? He said we couldn't do it again. Alright guys, we got a special assignment on our hands today, and today is actually a special assignment because we are on one specific snag right now. This is our third day in a row of coming here, and we have not been able to get the snag out for 3 days straight. Let me explain. 3 days ago, we were out recovering 2 rods for this guy Gary in my previous video. We found his rods and we're like, Gary, take us to a couple snags. He took us to a couple snags, and right in the evening we found this snag. And as soon as we found it, it was a monster snag down there. This terrible viz rolled in from a nearby river that has really bad visibility, and it just destroyed everything. Our viz went from 10 feet to 1 feet in literally seconds. So there's nothing we can do. It's too dangerous to dive in that kind of visibility, so we have to get out. We're like, we'll mark it, we'll come back here the next day and do it again. So we came back yesterday, we didn't mark it good enough. We spent 3-4 hours driving around trying to mark it. Could not find that same snag. Instead, we found a ton of other smaller snags, and we still filled up a whole tote of flashers, but we did not find the big snag. And then right in the evening at sunset, we finally found the big snag, but as soon as we found it, literally same exact thing happened. That terrible viz rolled in and ruined everything. We're like, dude, this is insane. How is this happening? So here we are, third day in a row. We just found the snag. The boys just discovered it. It should be monsters. There's a bunch of nets and other stuff on it, so see you guys in the water. So the boys just took a couple drops and we're already on flashers. I'm excited to get in the water. Welcome back underwater, and like always, thanks for tuning in. I'm sure you guys have noticed, but I have officially changed the channel name from what used to be my full name to now Big Water Guy. And as you can tell, not much thought went into that new name, but it works. I'm happy with it. The direction I see this channel going in is a lot of water content, and it's something I love doing, and it's obviously something that you guys enjoy watching. So I believe right about 95% of everything I post will be either from the water, in the water, or very close to the water. These gear recovery videos are really cool, but there's only, so much gear we could recover and keep posting before it just kind of gets repetitive. So got a lot of spearfishing videos coming up, got a lot of foraging where we dive for different shell life, crabs, exploration, cooking different things we find in the ocean, rivers, whatever. So obviously everything to do with underwater content, but I really want to stretch the borders on everything underwater. So not limiting myself just to finding fishing gear in the rivers, but everything to do with diving here in our Pacific Northwest waters to maybe even some traveling content, going shooting big fish elsewhere. So that's kind of the update on that. And I will say one more thing that I hate saying, is kind of cringy. I try not to say on this channel, but I realize it does help, and some of you guys need a reminder. If you do watch the videos and you do enjoy them, hit a quick subscribe. It don't take much, but it does help me here run this channel, and it does help us get out more in the water, do more of these dive cleanup videos, and just putting out higher quality content for you guys to enjoy at home. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching the videos. You already know we love doing this stuff, so it keeps the boys fired up that you guys enjoy watching the content, and it just makes us want to get out and keep diving and keep finding these crazy snags. Back to the video. I'm sure you guys have noticed, but we have a serious snag on our hands. This thing is huge. There is 2 big roots down here. Well, one whole stump with the root, and then one just big root ball that are causing the snag. We already cleared up the other root ball, and now we're working on this one. And honestly, when we first got in, even though we slightly hit it the past 2 days in a row, just like a couple dives each, as you can tell, there's still so much work to do down here. And there's just 3 of us, me, Damian, Derek. No scuba tanks, where I think, if I remember correctly, it was around 32, 33 some feet to the bottom. And all we did is we anchored the boat right on it, and you'll see us using the anchor line to basically pull ourselves down, and you basically get taken to the snag directly each time you follow that line. So that was good. And we have a system going where one guy goes, maybe even 2 guys goes at the same time. We go down, you take what you can, you know, try not to get too greedy and try not to get too caught up in there because there's a lot of line, a lot of net. It can be pretty dangerous in here. You take what you can, you go back to the surface, you kind of clean up the flashers, put them in the bin, next guy goes. And we're basically running this train on this log, and there's a lot of work to do, but with every dive you could tell there's less and less gear on it, and we're being pretty effective. And with 3 divers in and all the boys being comfortable in the water and diving these conditions, we're averaging, I would say, roughly 40 seconds per dive, maybe 50, where we go up, we breathe probably a minute on the surface, rest up, go back down, and we just ran a train on this thing for close to 2 hours nonstop. So if you've already watched a couple of these fishing gear recovery videos, you'll notice a common trend. And here I am going down the rest of this tree, and you'll see that there's not a single snag on it. And the only part that had a snag on it was the root ball. And not because it was the root ball, but because there's a giant gill net stuck on the root ball. And I mean, I've talked about this in my previous videos. Nothing will take your gear like some gill net stuck on a piling, on a root, on really anything. That gill net is lethal, and it will just rob you of everything you own underwater. So even though this snag is right about as dangerous as they come, just because there's so much gill net, loose line, and everything in here, we're trying to be as safe as possible with how we're running operations. So like I said earlier, we anchored up right on the snag, so we're all taking drops one after another to the same place. So if for whatever reason one of us gets caught in the gill net, in a hook, the next guy is coming right after. And I mean, God forbid anyone ever gets stuck down here, but even though it is dangerous, we have our safety precautions. If anyone gets stuck down there, the other 2 guys will do what they got to do to get him out. And it actually happened to Derek on this snag. He was reaching in to the gill net, pulling a flasher out, and his dive watch got tangled up in that line pretty hard, actually, to the point where he was pulling his wrist out as hard as he can, and it just ripped his watch off completely. Like it broke his wrist strap, but he got the watch back. But it just goes to show, like, yeah, things can go south very, very quick, especially when you're dealing with this much line and net 30 feet at the bottom of the river.
Supplies running low down there. Yes, sir.
You'll notice that with every drop, there's less and less gear for us to pick up, and we start transitioning from picking up flashers to focusing on the smaller stuff like spinner blades, hoochie skirts, spin fish, lead, all these things that we neglect when we first get down there and just start smashing and grabbing all the nicest flashers. We're now picking up the more beat up flashers and just basically honestly trying to clean this place up as best as possible. Ideally, we would like to, I mean, you've seen in our previous videos, we'll try to take the whole snag with the gill net, with everything, but in this case, it was just not an option, especially since we were free diving. Like, maybe if we came down here with scuba tanks and spent an hour just clipping apart every line, even then, it's just such a massive mess. And the video doesn't even really entail how girthy the whole net and snag and everything is. So we're doing our best just to pick up the little pieces at this point. And as you can see, Derek here just really scoping out. I start looking into the sand and start finding a lot of lead, like almost fully buried. But you also got to be safe. You don't want to just be sticking your hand into random places. Like, there's a couple flashes really deep inside that net that just aren't worth getting out, because you don't, like what happened to Derek with him getting his watch stuck. You don't want to be just sticking your hand elbow deep, shoulder deep in net with hook and God knows what else is in there. So got to be smart about it too. So there's a question I wanted to answer that I got asked in one of my previous videos, and it's a question I see pretty often actually, and it's asking about how we deal with pressure and going up to the surface fast, equalization and all that. And it seems like there's a common misconception between scuba diving and free diving. When you're scuba diving, there's a lot more things you got to be careful with because you're breathing compressed air underwater at various depths. With free diving, which is what we're doing here and what we're doing in 95% of our videos, we really don't have to worry about any of that besides just pressurizing our ears and sinuses. So when we're going down to the surface, you squeeze your nose and you just blow out and it pressurizes your ears. And we do this, every 5 feet. I do it more often than other guys because I have, inflamed sinuses often. Like right now, you could probably even hear it. So I'm doing this pretty often, and once you pressurize, like right here at 30 feet, I did this probably 3 to 4 times to get down to this depth, and I'm fine. I don't have to worry about anything. I could shoot up to the surface as fast as I want, And it's pretty simple. That's why we love free diving, because it's a very simple, straight to the point method of retrieving gear. It's great. Yeah, when I went under, I had a net wrap around my calf, and I had to just break it with my calf by pulling.
A couple times I've reached in and just felt a hook like go into my glove. I'm like,
there's got to be so much stuff littered, like leads. The front one, that big root ball, there's a bunch of lead under there.
dude, I pulled this. I started seeing a load of lead in here and I just grabbed the whole thing off. It all came off.
That's how this one is. There's just the net and then lead.
So about hour and a half, hour 45. We cleared that whole snag out down there. We literally basically got everything we possibly could without really getting carried away with the nets. As you guys saw, super hectic in there. A lot of stuff going on. But it's a big tote, the biggest one we ever had on this boat, and it's basically almost full. So I'm guessing at least 150 flashers plus a bunch of lead. We left that spot, and now we got the boys. We're doing a drift. I'm live boating, and we're trying to see if we can find any rods or any other snags. With how many snags we found yesterday, just randomly searching, there has to be something down here. So he already brought one flasher just now, so we're gonna keep drifting. Oh yeah? I appreciate it.
How far this side of the point?
3/4 of the way across.
Oh, okay. So it's closer to that side.
Yeah.
Well, we'll give it a shot, because we've kind of already hit every snag around here, so we're looking for more.
That, I guarantee you that's a good one.
Yeah?
Looks like a Christmas tree.
That's a lot of lead, boys. They just keep leaving us flashers down there. We don't know why, but they keep appearing every time we come dive this river.
Flasher bit.
What the freak is up, guys? They said we couldn't do it again. We did. Look at us. Flasher glitch.
Back at the chop shop. We still got a bin from the last 2 days that we haven't even cleared up. And this is today's bin. Today's lead. And this is that gill net that was down there that was basically holding up that whole snag. Super thick line that's really tangled and really hard to cut through.
I got this hook, Cookie skirt. They got it zip tied on there.
A lot of Jimmy rig setups. Look at this one.
Together.
But we'll be here for the next couple hours. This has been a evening ritual for the boys. We've all abandoned our families and our loved ones for the sake of flashers and lead. So it's been almost 3 hours since the last video. Tote is empty. Soaking tote is full. And then all over flasher bins are almost full. Pro Troll is definitely taking the lead. $5 bin, short buzz bin is gonna, one lucky winner is gonna win this on the next giveaway. People love this stuff, dude. I mean, we're probably not gonna give this one away, but this is a monster snag. All right, we'll see you boys on the next one.